Good morning, traders. Today is Tuesday, the 15th of October, and this is my trading plan for today. Let's start with the daily chart on ES. As you can see, all year long, very bullish, continuing to grind higher, regardless of any news that came out. And as of recently, we started to squeeze up again, popping above the highs we had built here. Then let's take an overview on NQ on the daily chart. Also very bullish throughout the entire year. However, it's still lagging behind ES, and if it wants to catch up, still has room to go to the upside. Then let's look at the Dow. Also very bullish the entire year. Managing to squeeze higher as of recently by popping above those highs. And we now have earnings season with financials already started to report the earnings on Friday and will continue today before the markets open, so this can have a greater impact on YM and its price movement. Then let's go back to ES and look at my major levels for today. And those are my major levels I'm looking at. So what you have here is very limited upside with two strong levels here and here. And what I noticed on the options chain is that there is very increased positioning around SPX 6000 level, which is on ES 6050-ish. So if for whatever reason price manages to climb above those two levels here, then upside squeeze towards SPX 6000 is highly likely over the next coming days, pressing into that those two levels above. Then if we see some downside, which is also on the table because of markets aren't looking very healthy underneath the hood, which I will go over after I finished my charts to show you some insights to that. And as you can see right now, ES already starts dumping a little bit. However, if we see more downside today, then 5,900 is my intraday key level for direction. If we manage to bridge through that, then I will be looking at around 5,870-ish to for my first buy target or buy level, and then at 5,845 will be my next buy level. So with that in mind, 5,900, a retest of that level will be giving me more insight in which direction I want to play. Also yesterday there was very light trading activity due to the holiday we had in the US, so maybe we see some greater correction to yesterday's grind higher. Um, but let's see what the markets will decide to do once the pre-market opens for the US. Then let's go into NQ and see what my major levels are. So for NQ, it's also that it's very close to its primary temporary top as of right now. Those levels up here at 20,640 to 20,730-ish are very strong resistance levels, and I don't expect us without any catalyst to manage to pop over those levels very easily. So it would need strong conviction from buyers to manage to close above those levels, and if so, then 20,930 will be my next upper level where I'm looking to either close my long positions if we manage to pop above, or even looking for shorts. For intraday direction, we are already trading below it. It's 20,600. So let's see how price manages to trade until the US pre-market opens, whether we will now reject that level or come back above. So then my primary levels are to the downside. I only have one where I'm really interested in buying NQ, which would be 20,145. In between, I have some minor levels, which I can show you as well. And we have to see what price will do around those levels. Possible buy area is, of course, this area here, because of a retest of those highs we made over the past days. And however, if sellers are convinced to push price lower, then they wouldn't have a hard time to trade below those last highs we built here, because there's not much gamma exposure around those levels here. And also a possible buy area would that 20,300 be. However, if sellers will still continue to sell around those levels, then they would also have an easy time to trade below that level. So with this in mind, the 20,600 level is really what determines the day. Then let's look at YM. And my major levels for YM are those. So the key level for direction is at 43,370, and we are also currently trading below it. However, the main support is has shifted upwards and is now sitting at 43,270. So I will only look for shorts if we break through that level and get a retest of it. Otherwise, I'm not convinced of seeing more downside. Then if we manage to break through it, then I have some more buy levels around 43,000 and also 42,870 is where I have my major buy level, where I will be most interested in buying this market again. Until then, with a breach below that level, then I'm only looking for shorts. Then if those financial reports are strong and YM wants to push higher, then we have one major level at 43,570 with the main resistance, which can cause some trouble when trying to continue to move higher. At 43,770-ish is where I am most interested in selling this market again. So that's for my levels, for my major levels today. Also have some minor levels on YM, of course. However, those minor levels are only to show areas where some sort of reaction can happen to either get another entry or add into a already existing position. Then that's for my levels. Let's put them all on right now. When it comes to options Greeks itself, we have some on ES some strong areas between 5,870 to 5,850. So if price comes all the way down below, then those other Greeks from the options will act as a support, and we could end up either chopping around in here or reject and try to reclaim some of the selling if that occurs. I don't know. On the top side, charm will be resistant into this level, and however the Vanna exposure shows us that it will be supportive, so it's working against each other at this point. So this indicates to me that this zone right here will be also a choppy zone if price comes into that. So nothing comes easy in trading, so do new levels not come as easy. With that in mind, those are my charts for today. You can also find them, of course, in the Discord server. And then let's look into some other stuff as well. Let's go into the term structures for today. So this is for SPX, which can also be used for the ES, and the green line is what's important for today, and we are in full contango, meaning that volatility today is lower than it will be in the future, with an rise into next week. And for the Qs, which can also act as a proxy for NQ, it's the same picture, full contango, volatility rising into next week with choppiness around this week that comes from this week being OPEX week, and with that there's always some increase in choppiness. Then let's look into DIA, which can be used as a proxy for YM, and here you can see we have some smaller backwardation as of right now, so meaning that volatility today is higher than it will be tomorrow, and then we are increasing into next week also. So overall volatility is priced in to get suppressed. Then let's look at the option SKU, which favors the downside, meaning that selling is more attractive than buying as of right now on SPX. And on triple Qs, it's very even as of right now, so there's not much edge to get out of that information. Then let's look at the Dow, which came back recently. However, it's now starting to improve again, meaning that SKU is, even though it's really low at this point, starting to increase to for the long side again. So that's to the SKU itself. Our options premium is favored as of right now. Then let's look into some other stuff which I found on Twitter. And this is the announcement of the buybacks. And yeah, the tech sector is, of course, the one that's buying back the most shares. Hence why companies like Nvidia, for example, continue to dominate the indexes, and their price action will still continue to have the most influence on how the indexes will trade. So always keep an eye on those heavy tech companies. Then earnings for this week. And as you can see for today, we have Goldman Sachs. Then we have Charles Schwab, so financials all over the place. Also United Health, which is a big name in YM. And later on in the week we have TSMC semiconductors, which will be meaningful for the tech sector itself. And Netflix is always a great name, so if you're interested in playing those earnings, then those are the names I would look the most into it and most forward to it. So that's about the earnings itself. Then let's look into the options data for a little bit to give you some insights to that. So the inertia is telling us that SPX will be more influenced, the price action, by positive news than it will be influenced by negative news. What's still concerning is that the aggregate VANA trend still continues to go lower, and we are now printing negative bars for the fourth day in a row. That's really concerning, and hence why there is a heightened downside risk at the moment. So if for whatever reason bigger entities decide to sell off their positions, then this can be greater than most people would expect it to be. And I also still believes that we will see at least one bigger sell-off before the US election. However, we have OPEC's week this week, so it might not happen before next week when all these changes in positioning and options rollovers um, are done by Friday. Then let's look at the aggregate VANA. This is also not looking really good. If you would want to see a full bearish, bullish positioning, then you would want to see something like a V shape. However, we don't have that on SPX. This is all supporting the downside, and it's not support for the upside, meaning there's not much put support down below. And like I said, if someone for whatever reason decides to sell off, then as of right now there won't be much that will hindering him to or will hinder price to manage to go low below current levels. So it's a risk you have to be aware of. Then let's look at charm on SPX, and yeah, that's so the front end is bearish while the back end is bullish. However, the total exposure to the bullish side is greater than it is to the bearish side, so there's still upside pressure in the markets. However, if we zoom in a little bit, you can see that we have these resistant points where we are currently bouncing back and forth, and if price continues to sell off, then we would have this big support pool down below here, which is around SPX 5,800 to 5,850 30, and for ES you have to multiply those numbers by 45 points, and so underneath the hood there is a potential risk for a greater downside move. However, it would need some trigger for bigger entities to start selling, and as of right now I can't see that trigger in the markets. Then let's look real quickly into the statistics for triple Q, which again can be used as a proxy for NQ. So the inertia is telling us that NQ will be more influenced by negative news than it will be by positive news. The aggregate VANA trend, however, shows a completely different picture from what it's showing us from at SPX. Really strong increase. That's looking really good and bullish and makes sense because of NQ lagging behind the other indices for it to catch up again. Then let's look at how volatility with VANA influences price, and this is what you would want to see in a bullish case. A strong V shape, which indicates there is strong support to the downside, and in this case upside is not as steep as the downside, so the path to the upside is the one with the least resistance. If we manage to come across the main resistance level, which can be challenging right now, that's to the exposure towards volatility. Let's look at charm itself. So here the front end is also bearish, while as you can see we have some really strong bullishness um, in the area where price is trading right now, and this goes all the way back to 450 on triple Q where the flip will occur, so there's not much to be concerned about. However, we have this hump right here where we are trying to manage to get across, which is in line with the major resistance level I have marked on my NQ charts, so you can check out those. However, if we manage to climb above this zone, then upside can be happen very quickly, and some sort of upside squeeze is likely because it's supported by charm itself, and because of we are now having OPEX week, charm has a greater influence on price action. Let's real quick look into DIA, which can be used as a proxy for YM to see what's going on underneath the hood. And first of all, the inertia is telling us positive news will have a greater impact than negative ones. The aggregate Vanna trend is also looking really concerning, with those continuing to print negative bars. However, aggregate Vanna trend is a leading indicator, so it can take some time before it finally manifests itself in the markets, and nothing to be biased on intraday price action. However, it's still important to know where the risk in the markets currently is. Then on the Vanna exposure, it's the same picture for YM as it is for SPX, with no support down below, and if for whatever reason bigger entities want to sell, then they won't find much resistance to the downside. However, the upside, there is resistance to be expected. Then let's look at charm. This is also anything but bullish, so it's very bearish here. As you can see, the back end is extremely negative, while the front end is extremely negative, excuse me, while the back end is almost flat. So there is not much upside pressure for the market, which is in line with what the aggregate Vanna trend is showing us. Yeah, that's about it for what the risk in the markets are. Let's do a quick summary for today. So on ES, the structure of price itself is bullish. Conditions are upside pressure with heightened risk to the downside. Volatility is priced in to get suppressed. The skew favors downside movement, and dealers will hedge by buying into dips and selling into rips. A change in short-term trend will occur at around 5,896, while a change in long-term trend only at 5,720. Then I will be interested in buying at 5,876, 845 and 820, and only selling if price reaches new highs at 920, 5,997 and 6,047. Then for NQ, the structure is also bullish. Conditions also pressure to the upside with the same heightened risk to the downside. Volatility also is getting suppressed while the skew is favoring the downside as well. However, dealers will hedge by buying into dips and selling into rips, which leads to the suppression of the volatility. Then a change in short-term trend is at 20,600, and the switch to the longer-term trend will happen at 20,145. Then those are my buy levels at 20,435, 311 and 145. And my sell levels only if we manage to make new highs at 6,443, 726 and 933. Let's go into YM. Structure also bullish, condition downside pressure. The risk is also heightened downside risk. However, the volatility is priced in to get suppressed, while dealers are also buy into dips and sell into rips. And the skew, there I did a mistake, is neutral at this point and favors more the upside. So short-term trend change will happen at 43,720 for the 0. Then change in long-term trend will happen at 42,265. And those are my buy levels. And those are my sell levels for today. Only buying if price makes new lows, and also only interested in selling if price makes new highs. However, a break and retest will change my perspective on, for example, a sell zone if price manages to break above that level at 43,537 and shows me a successful retest. Then I will buy off of that level, and same for all the other indexes. So that's it for today. Always remember to do your own due diligence, and nothing that I said has to be true, so don't take my information as financial advice and only see it as for educational purposes only, and to see whether it fits your trading plan or not. With that said, I wish you a great day, and I hope you find some success in the markets today. Catch you tomorrow.